activities conducted by IIC cell of IMT College of Law. The IIC cell has always strived to inculcate a spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation among its students. And today we have our esteemed speaker, Dr. Shalini Gupta ma'am, who is currently working as Assistant Professor, Delhi College of Art and Commerce, University of Delhi. Dr. Shalini ma'am has been awarded doctoral degree in 2020 entitled Bioremediation of Petrochemical Waste from Selected Polycyclic Aromatic Hydrocarbons from School of Environment and Sustainable Development at Central University of Gujarat. She has 3 years teaching experience as assistant professor from Delhi College of Arts and Commerce, University of Delhi, and also worked as guest faculty Department of Botany, University of Delhi. She has various papers, book chapters, and presented paper in international as well as national conference. Now, heartiest welcome to you, ma'am, from IIT College of Law. And over to you.
Thank you so much, Tanushree ma'am, for such a nice introduction. And thanks IIT Group of College for providing me this opportunity. So, good afternoon to everyone. I am Dr. Shalini Gupta, and I will be discussing in today's lecture about significance of World Environment Day. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay. The significance of World Environment Day. So, why do we really should be concerned about our environment, our planet Earth, or nature? So, it is yes, we should be concerned about our surrounding, our planet. So in this lecture, video lecture, I will be discussing about various topics which are covered under this content, like planet Earth. So why the planet Earth? Only this planet Earth is habitable, not the other planet. And introduction to World Environment Day, from which period of time we started celebrating this World Environment Day, and why we have decided this day to celebrate Environment Day. And also we are talking about Environment Day, so it is must to discuss about environmentalism. What is the concept of environmentalism? So we will discuss environmentalism with extending to environmental movements in India, and also environmental ethics. Now, significance of World Environment Day, why it is important, and back year themes, initiatives at individual level or action or steps could be taken to improve and conserve our surrounding and nature. So this image is a cross-sectional view of different planets. Image 1 is showing the planet Mars, which is showing the frozen surface and which is bombarded by radiation. And this kind of environment is completely inhospitable for life. But little amount of water can be seen over the surface, which in the uh, next future could be a hospitable place for the microorganisms. It could be habitable by the microbes. And the next planet, which is showing the image of Jupiter, which the ocean water itself and even the upper ice layer is there, so is also not very much hospitable or inhabitable. And planet Saturn, which is little bit similar to the Earth's structure when the life originated at the time on the Earth's surface. So planet Earth is a unique combination of plate tectonics and abundant water, which is about 75% of water covered on the Earth's surface. So these are the key factors to sustain life. Why Earth only? Why Earth is the only planet? Why Earth is habitable? So because the answer is it is the right distance from the sun, and it is protected from the harmful solar radiation, UV radiation, ultraviolet rays, by its electromagnetic field, which is produced naturally by the Earth, and it is kept warm by an insulating atmosphere, and it has the right chemical ingredients, that is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, okay, water. So every essential chemical ingredient is there on the Earth's surface for the sustenance and existence of life. So the processes that shape the Earth and its environment constantly cycle elements through the planet. So basically, when we try to understand how this planet functions, how the life sustains, how we are existing over here, so because of the environment, the habitable condition, the surrounding we are provided with, there are different components. If we try to divide the environmental components, so atmosphere is there, hydrosphere is there, various aquatic system like oceans and river water system is there, and leads with the rock surfaces, mountains, soil. So these things are essential for the existence of life. And by the interaction between these atmosphere, hydrosphere, which in turn form the biosphere, a livable place on this planet Earth. So by this interaction, it forms energy flow and the flow of nutrients in between. Nutrients or essential minerals or elements. So these cycling sustain life and leads to the formation of the minerals and energy resources that are foundation of modern technological society. Now it is essential to discuss what environment and nature provide us. Why should we care about it? So there are different environmental services we are provided with, we are benefited with, like obviously the oxygen for the respiration. So this oxygen we are getting in free of cost from the forest. So these are the direct benefits which are provided by the nature to the living organisms, not only the humans, the other animals and plants, microorganisms, human beings. So these are the provisioning services, the direct benefits we are getting from the environment and nature, that is food, fiber, wood, raw material for the industries, clean water, medicines. There are various drugs which are derived from the microorganisms, like some antioxidants, some plants, some medicines are also derived from the herbs, the plants. Okay. So regulating services from the environmental point of view, that is climate regulation, pollination of crops, store carbon. So basically, for the carbon storage, soil is very much important. So to improve the quality of soil, for the conservation of the soil is very much essential to store the carbon, to remain, to maintain the balance of carbon dioxide and organic carbon on this planet Earth. Okay. And controlling flood also. So by the help of forest and various vegetation, which can help in regulating climate as well as the other natural calamities like drought and flood. And some cultural point of view related to ecosystem services like inspirational, recreational values and educational and aesthetic. Supporting services like soil formation, biodiversity, the various kind of ecosystem are present on this planet Earth. So, which is habitable for the different kind of organisms. The variety of species are there. So, it helps in maintaining biodiversity, which is itself an important value for the environment, and primary production, habitat for the various organisms. Now, the history related to World Environment Day. So, World Environment Day every year is celebrated on 5th of June, and this day is celebrated across the world to raise an awareness and describe the importance of Mother Nature. So, every time we symbolize nature and earth as mother. So, to means to show some respect and also to make the people aware about the importance of these elements and why these things are essential for our existence on this planet. The World Environment Day was established in 1972 72, which in the on environment at the time of environment was 1974. Has created that the world is facing the problems such as air pollution, plastic pollution, global warming, and sea level increasing day by day. So the people start realizing, the environmentalist or research group or the other stakeholders they started realizing about the importance of environment at the time of pre-industrialization, when the industrialization and the other development activity was at their peak. So continuously deteriorating the river quality, air quality of the means on the earth, and also various living organisms. Biodiversity is also affected. So at that time period, the environmental awareness and sensitization among the people raised, and that's why the Environment Day and Earth Day was celebrated every year on 22nd April. So we are talking about Environment Day. So environmentalism is something is a branch which we can understood like it is a general term to refer to concern for the environment and particularly actions or advocacy to limit negative human impacts on the environment. So environmentalism is something that it is mainly focusing the over environment while minimizing the negative impacts, adverse impact which is done by humans on environment. So environmentalism could be understood on the basis of environment movements. So, environmentalism, the concept of environmentalism was given in the year of in between 1960s and 70s, when some famous uh, books were published on the various pollutants and or as well as the land use change over the other countries and due to different industrialization and over exploitation of the resources. So Silent Spring is one of the famous books, which was on the DDT, the fate of DDT and the adverse impact of DDT on human health as well as on the soil and on the food crops as well. So after this, some influential books, the concept of environmentalism came into the mind, and also the new constitution of Environmental Protection Agency was also formed in 1986. So environmental movement in India, there was various environmental movement took place from 1700, from year 1700 to in between 1900. Some important environmental movements happened, and also these movements are also known as modern environmentalism. And the year 1970 is also known as the year of modern environmentalism. So, an environmental movement which can be defined as social political movement for the conservation of environment or for the improvement of the environment, the quality of environment. So, while discussing the environment movement, we will observe that each of the environmental movement, green movement or conservation movement is the people concerned, their concern related to the resources and the conservation of environment, their surrounding, and on the for the sake of their livelihood. And the environmental movement favor the sustainable management of natural resources, and the movement often stress the protection of the environment via changes in public policy, and many movements are centered on ecology, health, and human rights. So major environmental movements in India. So some of the major environmental movements uh, occurred during the period of 1700 to 2000. The very first environmental movement in India was Bishnoi movement in the year of 1780s. The location was Rajasthan, Marwar region, and this movement was led by Amrita Devi along with the other Bishnoi villagers. The Bishnoi community in Rajasthan basically they worship the forest trees as a god of Lord Vishnu. So they protested the illegal cutting of forest in that region, and because their livelihood was also depending upon the forest region, and also they worship these trees. So they are emotionally attached. They were connected to the forest area, their resources. So that's why they come in front. They protested against this cutting or deforestation activity, which was ordered by the king at that time in the Rajasthan. And the aim of this movement was to save sacred trees. This movement is for protecting khejri trees in the Rajasthan. So this movement was actually a successful environmental movement because ultimately the king ordered to convert that area into a protected forest area. But after the loss of so many lives, uh, this Bishnoi movement was a successful conservation movement for forest. Now, next important and very renowned movement is Chipko movement, which held in the year of 1973. Location is in Chamoli district, Tehri Garhwal district of Uttarakhand. Was led by Sundarlal Bahuguna, Gaura Devi, Sudesha Devi, Darshini Devi, Chandi Prasad Bhatt, Dhoom Singh Negi, and many more renowned personality environmentalists, research groups, NGOs were involved in this Chipko movement. And the very characteristic point about this movement is many of the participants and leaders were women. So it is women-led movement. And the aim of this aim was to protect the trees on the Himalayas from the access of contractors of the forest. Next important movement is Save Silent Valley movement, 1978. Silent Valley is a place in Palakkad district in Kerala, uh, covering evergreen tropical forest. This movement was led by Kerala Sahasya Sahitya Parishad, NGO, and also poet activist Sugata Kumari played an important role in the Silent Valley protest, and its aim is in order to protect the Silent Valley from the moist evergreen forest from being destroyed by hydroelectric dam. So both the movement, Jippo movement and Save Silent Valley movement were successful environmental movement because both the areas where from where this movement has been started, these areas are transformed into protected or conserved areas. So now the Silent Valley was transformed and declared as, after this movement, it was declared as Silent Valley National Park in the year 1983 after this movement. Now next important movements are Jungle Bachao Andolan, which was in the year of 1982 in Bihar and led by the tribal group in the Singhbhum. And the aim was against the government decision to replace the natural sal forest with tea. So most of the environmental movements were against the deforestation for saving the forest resources, the vegetation, plants. In the Apico movement, 1983, Apico movement is just similar to Chipko movement and Jangal Bachao Andolan. Apico movement is also for saving and protecting the forest in the Karnataka district of the region, in the southern part of the India. This movement was led by Pandurang Hegde and many other NGOs, village farmers, villagers, and Narmada Bachao Andolan 1989, led by Medha Patekar, Baba Amte, and many other renowned personalities. But Narmada Bachao Andolan was not that much successful because it was over the conflict of Sardar Sarovar Dam construction over the Narmada River, covering the three states MP, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. So this was not successful, and the Supreme Court decided to make their decision to construct the Sardar Sarovar Dam with the reduced capacity, which was demanded by the environmentalists in this Narmada Bachao Andolan. And Tehri Dam conflict in 1990. It is also not a successful environmental movement. To save our seed movement, which was started late in 1980s in the Uttarakhand region, to save the indigenous seed from the biotechnological or genetically modified seeds. So these were some important environment movements which lead us toward modern environmentalism in India. So this is basically called environmentalism. Various movements were held for the protection of forest, uh, against the illegal cutting or against the hydroelectric dam construction. Now, environmental ethics. So, environmental ethics is a branch of applied philosophy that studies the conceptual foundation of environmental values. So, ethics is basically the morality, the moral duty of humans, because we are not we have towards our surroundings, towards so we should be concerned and we should value each and every aspect related to our surroundings. So, environmental ethics is a philosophy which deals with the conceptual foundation of environmental values, issues, and surrounding societal attitudes, action, policies to protect and sustain biodiversity and ecological system. So, environmental ethics basically tell us about based on the fundamental of live and let other live. So it emphasizes on the theory of biocentralism, which says about the human is also an integral part of environment. It's not at the top of environment, is also a part of environment, and we all are interrelated to each other. And there are many ethical decisions that human. So, for example, should human continue to clear cut forest for the sake of human consumption? Why should human continue to propagate its species and life itself? Should human continue to make gasoline powered vehicles? What environmental obligation do humans need to keep for future generations? Is it right for humans to knowingly cause the extinction of a species for the convenience of humanity? And how should humans best use and conserve the space environment to secure and expand life? What role can planetary boundaries play in reshaping the human-Earth relationship? So these are the questions and decisions we have to take on the basis of environmental ethics. So World Environment Day, the significance related to it, why we should celebrate and why we are celebrating every year on 5th June World Environment Day. Because time is running out. We are having less time and we are making people aware about to save environment, save water, save soil, biodiversity and their values. Now it is the time for the action to take some strong steps in which is actually the nature is already in their emergency mode. We all are realizing and facing the climate change, global warming effect. So to keep the global warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius this century, we must have annual greenhouse gas emission by 2030. So these greenhouse gases emission could be reduced only by reducing the usage or exploitation of various uh, appliances at the individual level, and also by minimizing the industrialization or exploration or exploitation of the resources. So without action, exposure to air pollution beyond safe guideline will increase by 50% within the decade. Plastic waste flowing into aquatic ecosystem will nearly triple by 2040. So that is why with every different theme every year on the Environment Day is celebrated. So these are back 12 years theme on Environment Day, like in 2010. The theme was Many Species, One Planet, One Future, hosted by Bangladesh. 2011, the theme was Forest Nature at Your Service, hosted by Delhi, India. 2012, the theme was Green Economy, Does It Include You? 2013, Think, Eat, Save, Reduce Your Footprint. So footprint is like a responsible consumption. We should be very responsible while consuming the food, water, and the other objects. 2014, Raise Your Voice, Not the Sea Level. 2015, 7 billion dreams, one planet, consumed with care. Zero tolerance for the illegal wildlife trade, connecting people to nature in the city, on the land, from the poles to the equator. Beat plastic pollution, New Delhi. Beat air pollution, time for nature, and recent 2022 themes were Only One Earth, which was hosted by Sweden. So what are the initiatives, steps could be taken at the individual level which can make big impact on the environment for improving our surrounding and saving our planet Earth? So stop using plastic on day-to-day basis. One should plant a tree in a year. Take an initiative to keep your society clean and maintain hygiene, not to throw garbage in river or sea. Be mindful while using the things and reuse, recycle them. Drive less, carpooling, public transportation could be used, use of bicycle could be done. So recently in 2012, Rajasthan is a state which started this initiative is taken by the transport department. He started from the every month in a year, every started a day of the month. It should be no vehicle day. So it is a very good initiative taken by the Rajasthan Transport Department. And save water as much as you can. Forest cover must be increased by reducing use of wood and trees. These are the small steps which could be taken at the individual level. And there are also various governmental initiatives have been taken, like the ban on plastic usage, single-use plastic is being banned, and the other initiatives like exploration of renewable energy. Okay, solar energy is being their usage is being implemented, and many other things which are eco-friendly, which is useful for saving our planet, also for improving the environment. These things are done uh, by the government on their behalf, but at the individual level, these steps we could take to save our nature. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, ma'am. In case there are any questions, we will be sending it to you on mail ID. With this, we come to the end of this session, and I offer my heartiest thanks to the esteemed speaker, Dr. Shalini Gupta, ma'am, for such an honor, privilege to have you with us, ma'am, today. And our children have definitely learned a lot today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.